But regardless of what retail does on tests like this, institutions will sell out of calls, right? Institutions and day traders will sell out of calls. So the first test of a high like this is always usually a very hard rejection, right? My current stop limit's like down at like 135, so I'm not very concerned. Although I would have gotten worried had it dropped down to like that 138 resistance, this one. That would have been concerning. If a Dan would get a kid, what's a name that a Dan would give? Can't name kid Dan either. Nad. The rejection was around 700k in volume. Great, you just set a homing beacon for 135. Mine's conditional, so it's not set as a limit order. Like if we cross 138, it puts the limit in place, and then it'll set the limit, or it'll set the limit sell after the stop is placed. What if BBY calls are your liking right now? Is IV a little too high? I'm not a huge fan of the current IV on BBY calls. I'd look at further out dates probably right now with the IV spiked. Like leaps. Leaps seem to be a better buy right now than the nearer term calls. Vortex type 2 squeeze triggered? That doesn't mean anything. What are the implications of them having hedged this run up? If it's a rug pull, what scenario makes this not possible for them? They're in a tricky spot because of the way they kicked the ETF obligations. They should have cleared them in February, and by not clearing them in February, they've really overstacked the ETFs. And, you know, they had to, as we saw, they had to turn more and more to borrowing real shares of GameStop as they've been driving the borrow rate up. And so that makes them, you know, kind of beholden to the lenders. And this could mean that, you know, they're going to be kind of beholden to the lenders throughout the rest of this quarter, which puts them at a huge risk if there's a share recall for any reason. And so that's what they want to avoid, right? That's one of the biggest benefits of using these ETFs is you know when a share recall will happen, right? Because it's scheduled. And so you know how long you can carry your short position for. But in this instance, now they're going to have to move because they kicked the can from Feb to March. They're going to have to hold that long short position directly with GameStop lenders. And not only are they, you know, paying an increased rate on their cash security being held with the lender, but, you know, they're also open to the risk of being a share recall at any time. And so it's interesting. I mean, this isn't something, we haven't seen them carrying a long short position with a lender since June. Since the run up into the shareholders meeting, which was, you know, largely probably driven by a share recall due to the institutions voting for RC, or the ones that did at least, like BlackRock and Vanguard. And so, yeah, it's compelling. If any big news comes out or big fundamental change in the company that would trigger a share recall, you know, now the shorts are exposed to that because they've had to turn to these SEC lending pools. Dude, my Persian rug PTSD made me sell my weeklies of 95C for 500 instead of this run that would have given 55K. How do you work past this trauma? Just remember that, you know, there's always another stock moving tomorrow. You're never going to hit them all. You got to get over that. At least you made profits. Some people won't. I thought a share recall was extremely unlikely or not possible. It's just a slim chance of it happening that keeps them balancing that risk. Yeah. Because it's a huge amount of risk, right? How far in advance do share recalls get announced? Sometimes they give them T+2. I mean, if we continue on our current trajectory, which, you know, we had that after hours bump, and then, you know, we found, you know, we could see our floor at end of day be about 150 as price continues to drive up. I mean, if we stay on this trend, I think at some point this trend will break, but you know, uptrends like downtrends continue till they break the other direction, and they can continue for quite some time.